Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it.
Okay, firstly, I gotta address apologetics. It doesn't make sense, I'm not sorry, I don't get it. The fact that he was crucified means that we're all indebted. We should demand to have a culture that doesn't soon forget it. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess it. Christ is king, listen up, get the message. The time is short, the deception is impressive. The church itself is corrupted and wretched. They preach about grace, no righteousness expected. God gaze at the pulpit because their sin is accepted. The devil calls, they don't even try to reject it. They're employed by Satan, they are tax exempted.
Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell
It's
it.
neither land of the free, nor is it home of the brave. When you got people here killing babies every day, and all the Christians here think that they can get away if they throw a couple bucks into the bucket on Sunday. But I don't think that that's the way it works. He said to seek the kingdom and its righteousness first. But you wanna grab a handbag, a Rolex, and what's worse, you think that you deserve it, but the bubble's about to burst. It's time to rise, sell the cloak for a weapon. Got the sword in my left, in the right, Smith & Wesson. And I don't think it's wise for you to try to be testing. If you become a Goliath, then I'ma teach you a lesson.
It's a cost to see, and what the cost will be is the people in the church's state accosting me. But I'm speaking honestly, you are not the boss of me, because I only give allegiance to the one true king. And I don't care if we burn down this whole country, cause it's wretched and rusty and rotten, stupid and ugly. And I got no love for churches and preachers set up above me, cause their democracy's about to be replaced with monarchy. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Main Character Podcast, level 75. Made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con Man, and thank you for being here, as always, for another level of the Main Character Podcast. We have made it all the way to level 75. It's actually kind of crazy now that I think about it. 75 episodes of this crazy Kool-Aid, crazy party bus. Thank you guys so much for being here. Obviously, we are back. It is the New Year's Eve special tonight, so we're going to be seeing off 2025 and welcoming in the new year according to, this current calendar. I can't speak for the accuracy of it, but it is what it is. This is the Titanic of a civilization that we're riding on, and it is splitting in half down the middle, so all we have left is the semblance of railing that we're holding on to as the whole thing goes teetering off into the deep. So anyway, let's go ahead and pop in and say hi to chat, everybody. It's great to see you all here. Once again, level 75, made possible by the Cult of Con. And of course, it is a blessing to have all of you guys here for New Year's Eve. I hope you guys are chilling, having a good time. We're a little bit early, obviously. I know that in some parts of the world, it's already tomorrow. They're already in the future in 2026. But right now, we are at just the tail end out here on the west coast of the USA, seeing off 2025 before that ball drops, and I'll be off doing things at that point. But for now, you have me here, and I have a few things I want to share with you guys tonight. I actually brought notes this time as opposed to last week, which is a little off the cuff, but at the same time, this was planned to be an off the cuff year-end Vein Bulge, so to speak. But I did put some things down so that I remember to talk about them. In fact, you should probably just refer to the notes anyway. But yes, obviously, New Year's Eve, and it's great to be here with all of you guys. Let's go ahead and let's give the customary greeting. I have one of these. You know how it is. You know what it is. All right. Anyway, so looking at chat, it looks like we got like all of our regulars. It's great to see you guys here. I see like all of our people. Obviously, we got Wendy here. Wendy is the resident captain of the Big Blimpin' Party Blimp, as you know. We also have Dr. Who in here, our other moderator, and then we have one other moderator, MK Ryan, who he doesn't always make it, but I think there's like a time zone difference for the guy, so he always catches up later. So we might see him. Sometimes he shows up late. You just never know what's going on in the world. It is, of course, great to see all of you guys here. I see we got everybody. Where do I even begin? I'll roll it back just a little bit. I see that Beth is here with us. 2K2211. Which I think that's a Bible verse, if I'm not mistaken, but that's Beth, good to see you, Beth. We also have Cage Fighter, welcome in, and Kathy Slaw. I saw Kathy was like, I'm just here to hear Connor laugh tonight. Well, I will laugh a little bit, but I do have some serious stuff to talk about tonight. We'll try to do a little bit of both. We try to make the first hour kind of fun, and then we'll get down to the brass tacks and the real serious stuff, as we always do. We did already say hi to Wendy, but it's good to see you, Wendy. We also have Chris T, my friend, welcome in, and Amelia Petrella, welcome. It's great to see you. And Brother Bruce is also here with us. It is literally like the whole gang is all here. We also have Robert Allen as well, my friend. It's good to have you. Just a quick sec. We also have the the igloo. I should have filled this with Sprite. It's New Year's. What am I doing? We'll just pretend it's Sprite this time. I do have a case of them in the fridge, and I will be having some later. But I like to keep focused. As soon as I put a Sprite out, I forget about it, and then it's flat and warm. Water in ice, it lasts the test of time. So that's why we hang on to that. And then we also, we have Mad Pax. Good to see you, my friend. We also have Walking Steve. Good to see you, my friend. I feel like Walking Steve's always like, uh-oh. He's always like, where are we going tonight? No funny costume. No, very, evident rant. We'll get there, of course, I promise. We've got Darcy. Welcome in, Darcy. Good to see you. We also have Holkma. Holkma, my good friend. It's always good to see you, my friend. Good to have you here. We got Blake Higgins. Welcome in as well. Blake Higgins with the classic honk honk. We'll go ahead and just drop one more. We try to get these out of the way early on so that people can actually hone into what we're really saying. I realize this about myself. I'm I go from joking to making serious statements one sentence after the other. I'll say something dead serious and then I'll say something that's a joke, and it's very difficult sometimes to tell if I'm joking or if I'm just insane. But maybe that's part of the fun. You just never know. Good to see you, brother. Half Truths. I'm so glad to have you here tonight, my man. I know, we're obviously separated by work and by, timing and all that regard, but it's good to have you, my friend. I hope you're having a good time over there with the missus and all that, and we'll get together Saturday, I think, is our plan. We'll shoot to make that happen. I'm excited for that. Let's see, we also have Jesse Pierce and Sean C. Welcome in, you guys. And we also have a Little Seasoned and Spicy, also known as Jenny Layton, Tartarian Prepper. Welcome in, good to have you. And Mama Con, good to see you, Mama. Happy New Year's. And am I 32 this year? Can you believe that? Oh my goodness. 6 months. I'm still waiting for the big 33. That's when people can finally accuse me of being a shill. Maybe by then I'll have some sort of influence and people will be like, yeah, he's a shill for sure. Who knows? Good to see you, Mad Pax. I don't know if I said hi to you, but if I did, hi again, my man. It's good to have you. And let's see. I think we're just about caught up on the early birds here. Everybody buckle up. The party bus is going a little off the rails today, as it sometimes does. And it's just hitting right now. We've got Elizabeth. We've got Giant Tree. We've got Try Again. Also, Ready to Go Home. All right. Y'all made it. I think we're just about ready to pull out. The first thing that we do, the first stop on the party bus, it's going to be Shilltown, USA, population me. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of our wonderful supporters over on patreon.com/thecultofcon. Thank you guys for supporting, especially during this time of the year where, obviously it's kind of hard around the holidays. There's often a lot of expenses that we have to cover. And, I know a lot of people come, short up on cash this time of the year. Ask me how I know. Thank you guys so much for helping to make this show possible and helping to grow the channel and the equipment and everything we're doing here, and a special thanks also to our PayPal donators. That's a Gmail account. It's thecultofcon at gmail.com if you're interested in donating that way. But thank you guys so much for doing that. And before we get any further, let's take a look at the thumbnail here. The New World Resolution. level 75. So I have a lot of stuff to talk about, evidently. What we're looking at here is kind of simple. This is the coming kingdom. We have this kind of lore in this community now that we kind of imagine the holy New Jerusalem coming down as this UFO that's imposing the rule of God on the world, and all the people who are heathens and atheists are super upset because it's like the alien invasion to ruin the world, but we're all like stoked about it. That's kind of what this image is basically. It's kind of a symbol, like it's symbolic. I mean, I don't necessarily think an actual UFO will descend. It'd be cool if it did, and if it was like God, not an alien. I'd rather avoid the whole Independence Day thing, but I can see why they've done so much of that programming over the years, because if a giant holy Jerusalem descends, most people are going to be like, oh my God, it's the aliens. And then there'll be that sect of weird Kool-Aid drinking freaks like me and you who are like, no, it's not. It's Jesus. It's the Jesus UFO. And people are going to be like, you guys are unhinged. You need to shut up. Anyway, very exciting. Let's get into it. I've got a few things to talk about tonight. I think that this is the first real New Year's Eve special. I think last year New Year's Eve fell on a different day of the week, so it wasn't really on the holiday, but here we are, New Year's Eve as far as society believes, and we're kicking off a new year, and it is kind of weird how quick 2025 went by, and maybe that's just because I'm getting older, or maybe it's just because time started flying after 2020. I mean, I think a lot of you guys can relate to that, right? 2020 it seemed like it was like yesterday. The whole world was like coming apart, and it was this dystopian, like overarching medical control system encroaching on every aspect of our lives, and you had to put on these like masks that really didn't do anything, and they even said they didn't do anything, but if you said so, you got banned. Man, it was 1984 up in here. But yeah, it's been 6 years now, guys. 6 years since all that happened, and it's weird to consider that, and weird to think that we're still here after what certainly seemed like the end of all civilization, right? Like we literally thought, the Walmart prison camps are right around the corner, and they might still be. I'm not saying that we're out of the woods yet, but we made it another year, guys. We've made it this far. 2025 has reached an end, and it's really crazy. I guess I want to say that this last year has been really big for me as a creator, as like a developer of content on YouTube and other platforms. Effectively, this is when I started taking myself seriously, because all my life I just kind of thought, I don't have an opinion that's valuable, or I don't have any knowledge that can contribute. And over the years, I had to kind of really realize that everybody has something to give. Everybody has something they've been instilled with, or that they've worked for, or that they've earned in their life that can be contributed to the advancement of the kingdom and the world. That's the whole purpose of this whole body, as it's discussed, that we all have a piece and a role to play in this whole thing. And so I started being really serious in the last year about like being a voice in this time that we're living in. Whether I'm right or wrong is really up to the test of time, and anything good that I do, I have to give credit to God for, because I've pretty much historically sucked. And so if I do or say anything good, praise the Lord for helping me see the light and have something rational and reasonable to say, because otherwise I'm like angsty and what was it? Brash and overbearing, as you know. So thank you. And I do also want to say thank you to all of you who have been here, throughout the development of the show. And as some things have changed and gotten better or worse, or, we've had to put some shows on pause. I've been really busy with lots of things, There were a lot of projects that I'm still working on, but I've had to kind of hold out on, because my energy is better needed elsewhere, and it's kind of hard to know when you're going through all this stuff what is the best use of your time and energy, especially when you're working on things that you think are really important, and you have to kind of gauge that. Like, is making an arts and craft project or working on my car and making videos about my car more important than advancing the real reason why I'm here? And I think that's just not the case. So unfortunately, like stuff like my UFO CDM UFO project and like the car videos and stuff are just still on hold right now, taking a little longer than I thought they would, because I've had to put so much energy into this new documentary that I'm working on. And I really feel like it's the right choice to make, to divert my energy from the little things that are fun and cool, and to put them into, put that energy into more important things, which is like, I've said it in the past, and I guess I'll say again that I'm working on this absolutely, I'd say, groundbreaking piece that has to do with yet another, I think, important element of like eschatology and understanding the end times and everything. It's a really, I think, very important. And so I'm working on it to a great extent. It's an enormous undertaking, and a lot of my energy has been kind of sapped in the pursuit of that. And then, of course, this is the busiest time of the year for my job. So I've been stretched really thin lately. So I just want to thank all of you guys for sticking around and being here for the show and understanding. You know, I would love to be able to do this full time. And I think that if I did, I'd have like way more output. But, you know, it's kind of in life, we have to do what we have to do. And sometimes that means going in and putting in the work on things that may not be as important to you as you want them to be. But you know, the bills don't pay themselves. So thank you again to all of you guys for supporting, helping make this a good holiday season and end of the year and a bright start for next year with the channel. So thanks for sticking around, guys. I really appreciate you, for sure. Let's see. So here we are. Yeah, 2025 did go really fast, and 2026 is already here, and I can already see the writing on the walls for some of the stuff that's set to come in the next year. All kinds of new advancements in like AI technology and all kinds of weird treaties and foreign trade agreements and potential war even, right? You know, the U.S. striking Venezuela on the land, I guess you could say, in their sovereign territory in the last like 48 hours. A super wild escalation of things. It's funny how our side always escalates with these like smaller, weaker countries. Just it's like prodding the bear until they bite, so you can justify attacking them. You're like, he bit me. Like, yeah, you get poking him until he struck back. It's so typical of the puppet masters that run this country from that little small hat country over there in the Middle East. Like, it's the same behavior. They keep like provoking and bombing civilians until a small terror group rises up as a resistance force, and then they're like, terrorists, bomb them all, and justify the ends by the means. Like, blow up a bunch of innocent people until it makes them mad enough to attack you, and then you were justified bombing them in the first place. It's crazy work, man. It's a weird world to be alive in, but at least I can identify that that's what's happening. I think a lot of people here can see it that way. But yeah, 250th anniversary of the United States, guys. Like, that's wild to me. I mean, I don't know how much I believe about the dates of everything, and you know, the founding fathers who found the place, whatever you want to call that. It's kind of a sketchy story at best. But at least we can recognize that the country we call the United States today is effectively 250 years old this year. And I imagine it's going to be interesting because the Trump administration's talked about doing whatever they call the Great American State Fair. And that just totally invokes to me the idea of you know, the world's fairs, the expositions, you know, some of those really compelling times in American and world history where we kind of got to see a little window through the veil a little bit at how, you know, what we thought was a time of like the Wild West and like carriages going across the Oregon Trail to try to get out west, and it's like at the same time these people are living with like leather shoes and like having to eat their shoes to survive the winter, like abject poverty, crappy wooden wagons and shacks, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like in certain parts of the country, it's like magic, palatial wonderlands, and like, oh, we're just gonna show off our latest technology, and it's like just so weird, you know, the juxtaposition of what you kind of are taught about the old world, and then you look and you're like, well, how is it possible that there's like weird cowboys with nothing, and then 5 minutes later it's San Francisco and there's like palatial castle buildings downtown? Like, what's going on, man? It's definitely weird, and I think that's the vibe I get from this whole like 250th anniversary of the United States. I hear they're supposed to be dropping like a red, white, and blue New Year's style like ball drop, but it's for the United States 250th anniversary. Just weird, man. Like, what do you think they're gonna do, right? You know, for the longest time, people in the whole little season eschatology community have batted around the idea that it's possible that, you know, Satan may have been released on, you know, July 4th, 1776 with the whole Statue of Liberty and the chain and the date and all this. It's very good. It's speculative, but very interesting. And then we look at, you know, the condition of the world today, and everyone's very convinced, well, it must still be happening because of the state of the world, the way things are. And I get all that. But it's just really compelling because, you know, there was a time where we considered that, well, if the millennial reign is 1,000 years and there's 4 seasons in a cycle or a 1 year, and if we're talking about a season in reference to the 1,000 years, it must be 1/4 of that 1,000 years, 250 years. Now, I don't know if any of that's true, okay? And I think we've kind of gone back and forth on whether that's viable or not. But the point is that it's very interesting interesting because this is the year where we find out, right? If this is the 250th anniversary, if this is the end of the 250-year little season of Satan, I guess, if that's the reality, I mean, that's crazy because we're about to be in it. Like right now. And there's other stuff too, like Agenda 2030 we've heard so much about over the years, like their plan for world dominion and total big brother totalitarian spy network takeover. And everybody's really concerned about that. And that's like tomorrow pretty much. I mean, yeah, I don't mean 2026, but 2030 is close, man. Like if you look at how quick it was 2020 to 2026, we don't even have to go that far. We only have to go 2/3 as far again and we're there. And the last 6 years or 5 years just flew by like it was nothing. So who knows what 2026 is going to be like. But I don't know, be prepared because I have never seen more idiocracy in real life. You can't make it up. Like everything that's trending, everything that you see popping up about the depravity of everything and the insanity of everything, you literally can't make it up. It's amazing. Sometimes I joke with my brother and we'll say something outlandish. We'll try to come up with the most outlandish thing possible based on the pattern of how everything goes. We're like, oh yeah, well, next thing you know, they're going to start filling up cargo containers and just dumping all the food into the ocean or whatever because there's too much food and we have to drive the price down. And then you look it up and you find out they're actually doing it. Like maybe not that exactly, but it's like, oh yeah, no, they put a per capita on the milk production so that the farmers have to charge a certain amount for milk by keeping it scarce, by not allowing them to produce enough and making them throw away anything in excess of the volume requirement. And then they'll be like, oh, property tax is insanely high, so you can't afford to sell the milk cheap because you won't live cheap and the customers won't live cheap because you will all be made to suffer. It's like, it's not a joke. It's like real. It's like literally designed. It's crazy. Yeah. So who knows what 2026 is going to look like? I'm very curious, and I've got my eyes open because things are really crazy. As you guys know, this is like season of distractions, and we'll get more into that in a little bit about how there's been so many crazy revelations over the last year, especially the back half of this 2025 season has been utterly crazy. And I think it's important that we touch base on a little bit of that stuff, but without getting too far into it, because you guys know I really don't like being like the reporter of the bad things of today. Like that's just really not my forte. I get irritated, I get mad, I get frustrated. I start screaming about ropes and, and how everybody has to, everybody needs to be executed. Like, and that's another thing is just maybe how far the Overton window has shifted in the last year. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But New Year's, right? New Year's Eve. Let's talk about that for a moment. Last year I spoke about this, and I got a chance to speak about it a little bit in the Sunday service last year too, which is this idea that I came up with a while back, and it's something that I intend to see through. But it's pretty much, when we're talking about New Year's, a lot of people, especially in like secular communities, they look at the New Year as an opportunity to kind of start fresh, and it's a new beginning, it's a new chapter, it's a new fiscal year, I guess you could say. And for so many people, it's a chance to try to break a bad habit or to take on new habits that are better. Excuse me. Anyway. So when I think about New Year's resolutions, I think about, the fact that it's such a complicated process because in life, generally, we have a history of being a certain way. It's how we have become, as a character. You get characterized basically by the things that you do. And so if you're someone who smokes, you smoke cigarettes, it's something that you do, and it's not really it doesn't speak to your value of personhood, but it's a habit that you carry with you. It's something that you do. And same as with people who are like obsessed with Mercedes-Benz or whatever. You can't stop spending their money on car parts or whatever. Whatever it is, the habit. Maybe you want to take on a new habit. Like I need to start making better dietary choices so that I'm getting the proper nutrition and avoiding the raspberry-filled Franz donuts, even though they're so good. The point I'm trying to make is we always see this, a very common theme in the modern world, to look at the new year as an opportunity to change. And we say, on this day, then I will commit myself to doing X and Y, whether it's leaving behind an old habit or putting a new habit into motion in your life. And I want to talk about this at length, and I've discussed writing a book about it. And the book has been roughly titled New Life Resolution. And because New Life Resolution is a concept in my lore, like Cult of Con lore, I expand upon it in tonight's discussion, and further, it would basically be the sequel to the first book. And so if we're going to talk about the New World resolution. I think it's worth kind of recapping the New Life resolution a little bit. And so, like, what actually is that? And so I want to talk a little bit about that. The first is, what is resolve? And, resolve is kind of an interesting thing. Resolve is basically like a motivation, like a firm determination. And so when you encounter problems in your life, whatever the problem may be, some sort of a difficulty or an obstacle, it requires some amount of perseverance or resolve in order to resolve that problem, right? So in the same way that resolve is both, it serves as both the strength, like the motivation, determination, but it also is the solution itself. And it's a very interesting thing to consider, because you have basically something that can't exist without itself. You have to be determined so that the solution can exist at all, but the solution is your determination. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of an interesting play on how all of that works. And so when we're looking at something like our own lives, our own iniquity, our own failures, we find it difficult to overcome these things, because the reason that we have failed, the reason that we've come up short, or the reason we haven't been able to take on these new higher resolutions in our lives is because we don't have within ourselves a cause or purpose or integrity or resolve to do those things on our own, which is why we've reached the point, the end of the fiscal year, and we're looking at the next year and asking of ourselves why we aren't doing what we should be doing, or why we're continuing to do something we shouldn't be doing. And we see it and recognize it as a problem, but thus far, no other day of the year has been significant enough for us to say, okay, I'm done living that way, or I'm ready to start living a new way. And so we try to find some sort of a sentimental, feeble cause that, oh, well, now it's the 1st of January and the calendar number says something different. So now this year I'm going to stop eating milkshakes 5 days a week. And that's still not good enough. You have to have a cause bigger than your own self, because your own self has been the cause for why you've been failing the whole time. It's like, oh, I'm so fat, I never work out. What? The fat guy who doesn't work out is the reason you're going to start working out? Like, that's your personal trainer? A fat, lazy guy? You know what I mean? Like, you look at yourself and it's like, yesterday you weren't a good enough reason to care about your health. What, tomorrow now you are? Now all of a sudden you value yourself enough that you need to get in shape. And maybe that's the case. Maybe that is true for some people. Like, they just say enough is enough, and it just so happens to be New Year's. They're like, I'm just going to stop eating donuts filled with raspberry filling now, today, and it just so happens to be New Year's Eve. I promise you I'm not going to be done with those donuts, because they don't expire till Sunday. That means I got to eat 4 more donuts in the next couple of days, because I already ate 2. Anyway, I'm already getting hot, dude. You guys, you're going to have to give me just a sec here. I'm literally roasting. Bear with me one sec. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for bearing with me. Anyway, so resolution, right? We are dealing with problems in our lives personally. I always like to look at the example, and I think this is part of kind of the book. There's a guy called David Goggins, and I talked about this previously. David Goggins is a guy who was extremely overweight. He was sickly. He was like 400 pounds. Just a giant disaster in his life. And the long story short, not to condense a man's entire legacy into a couple of paragraphs, but David Goggins decided he wanted to be not just better than the loser that he wanted to be great. He wanted to go way higher and farther. So he looked for something bigger than himself. And that's a lot when you're 400 pounds. It's hard to find something bigger than yourself. But he did. And what he found was the United States Navy and the SEAL program, which is like the best of the best, according to legends. They're like G.I. Joe, a real American hero, So he's like, I'm going to become a Navy SEAL. And the SEAL training, the SEAL standards of the United States Navy, like, this is a big deal. You're not showing up 500 pounds and getting through buds. You know what I mean? So he knew what he needed to do, which was to become a monster of motivation and fitness. And it wasn't him that did that. It was an acknowledgement that the standard was high. It wasn't just David Goggins motivating him. It was the high standard of the U.S. Navy and the SEAL team. And for him, for that man, that was enough to get him to turn his life completely around, to bust ass and become like a total, like a jacked, and he did it. He became a SEAL. And I'm not here to speak about the semantics of who the good SEALs are and who the lesser performing, or who stayed in the longest, who actually saw combat. Like, none of that's relevant to me. We're talking about an incredible standard of human fitness and capacity that this man was able to reach, not just because most normal people can't reach it, but because he was like 500 pounds and he did it anyway. That is a new life resolution. David Goggins turned from being a fat loser into an actual, like, a warrior, and in many people's eyes, like a hero of achievement and military service, which is valuable to a lot of people, especially in this country, including myself. And so when you look at a story like that, you see David Goggins, and it's like he realized that it wasn't about David Goggins, but it was about finding something bigger than himself. And the new life resolution is about recognizing that the biggest and highest cause for your purpose in life comes from God. It's not just wanting to meet the standard of a man-made organization, of an organization for warfare and combat, but really actually to reach an organization that is about life itself, love, and the future of all humanity. And that is God's kingdom and the purpose for which he made all of us in this world. So when we look at the problems in our lives, the shortcomings in our lives, the things that are part of us that are bad and need to go away, and then we also acknowledge that there are things missing from our lives in terms of character and capacity and resource and whatever else you're missing in your life. It requires you to resolve, to realize that you don't have it in you. That's why you don't have it in you now. The reason that you're not Mr. Awesome, Mrs. Awesome, whatever, is because you're not Mrs. Awesome, and you're asking a 500-pound guy to motivate you in the gym. And maybe for some people, seeing the 500-pound guy is like, oh, I don't want to end up like that, but that's not normal. Most people need to feel like there's something they're aiming for that's a purpose that drives them farther and higher than ever before. And if you want to go farther and higher, then look no further than the kingdom of God, because there is no farther place, there is no higher place than the Most High. Amen? So when we're looking at new life resolution, we're looking at a technique of applying the kingdom to your life and realizing that I don't have what it takes. I need a personal trainer who is far above me. I need a guy who is transcendent of the world and its problems. So we look to Jesus Christ, the ultimate Messiah, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the one who has overcome the world. If Jesus Christ can overcome the world, you can overcome your addiction to raspberry-filled donuts, I promise, okay? And that can happen through Christ, because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. That is a true fact, and I really believe that. And so, ultimately, the new life resolution is about getting over the fact that you can't help yourself, right? And getting over the fact that the person who got you into this mess is you. The reason your life sucks is because of you. We have to take responsibility for ourselves. Yeah, there's a lot of outside causes, a lot of outside circumstances, but who was it that just kept eating raspberry-filled donuts? Me. Who was it that just kept sitting down for another 12-hour gaming session, tuning out the world? Now, it might have been a way to cope. It might have been a way to get through, but the future is not for people who cope. The earth is inherited by the meek, right? It's not inherited by the weak. So if you want to be meek, you have to be strong so that you can then choose to be soft. But if you're weak, you don't have the choice to be strong. And that's not who inherits the earth. So when we're looking at it from that perspective, we understand there's a responsibility that we have to rise, and it's not in us. It has to come from God. The way, the truth, and the life that is Christ Jesus is the only way that you're going to find new direction in your life to take you away from the raspberry donut box and whatever other 500 pounds of misery that you're trapped in. So it's a really intense concept, and I really want to write it into a book to really find a way to articulate it and make it concise and make it really easy for people to understand and digest the reality that you're not going to change because it's a new day of the year. And you're not going to change because you want to do it for your own self. When you look in the mirror and say, well, I wish I was jacked, like that's not enough. It's not enough to make people go the miles. It's not enough to make people change, to take on the challenges in their life. Most people just want to hide because it's easier that way. Unless you have a bigger reason to go forward and to face these challenges and a confidence, right? The Bible talks all about faith the size of a mustard seed and how if you just had a little mustard seed of faith, you could move mountains, right? For like King David, it was like here he's facing this giant in his life, literally a giant man. And he had to look for something bigger than himself if he was going to be able to defeat that giant. And so he trusted God. He had faith larger than a mustard seed probably, because he had to go stand in front of that guy. He had to actually face the music. You know, Peter gets out of the boat and walks a few steps before he looks down and sinks. Think about these people lived and walked, well, not David, but Peter lived and walked with Jesus, and even he lacked the faith to do the miraculous work. So it's not to say that because you're not an amazing success that, well, you just lack the faith, boy. It's not quite that simple, but we can understand the problem. It's so important to understand the problem if we want to actuate a solution in our lives. And obviously, when we're talking about the kingdom and Jesus Christ and Christianity and faith, this is only about you and him. You can't apply Christianity to other people and make them do what you want. The heart change can only come from your own contrite heart that's sorry, repentant, willing to change and to learn new things and to develop a new life. And you have to be resolved to do that. So the New Life resolution is about you and your relationship with God and your understanding from a position of humility that you don't have what it takes to become a macho man hero. And the people that do are often just posing, they're pretending. People drive a big fancy truck and they're $1,400 a month. You don't own a big truck. You don't own a house when you pay $2,000 a month or whatever in mortgage. The bank owns the house. So we have these ideas we ascribe to ourselves. I can do it. It's not real. Only God can do it. And that means that whatever it is, who can defeat Goliath? God. Who can part the Red Sea? God. Who can overcome the cross? Jesus Christ. None of that is done by man's hands. It's done by the power of the kingdom. And so when we enter that kingdom, when we resolve ourselves to look for a higher purpose, a higher standard, that is where the motivation comes from, but it is also where the resolve comes from, right? It's both the resolution and the power to enact it. That is what you need. And it doesn't come from man, it comes from the kingdom, which is not of this world. And so that's where we start as individuals, as believers. We decide we're not going to live like this. We're not going to be deceived anymore. We're not going to be lost and perishing. We want to be made new. And so we enter New Life resolution, and now we become believers. We enter the kingdom. It's so important for advancing your understanding and your purpose in the world, which God has ordained for you. You don't exist just to live and die here. You know, and it's so important that we talk about this because the world that you're in is like your job. You know, you go to work, you pay your bills with the money that you earn at work. And when you're at work, you wear the uniform and you do the tasks and you stay off your phone because you follow the rules because you don't want to get fired. And we look at our carnal existence and our jobs in the world and we say, well, I get up in the morning and I show up on time. We can be on time to our job. We can wear the uniform and the name tag or whatever. We can appease the boss and the customers and the expectation of the workload, the quota for whatever productivity. You can do that stuff. And then you can come home and you can get into sweatpants and you can get drunk on White Claw and you can hoot and holler for the new year and you can have a good time. And the reason you get to do that stuff after work is because you go to work and you earn your paycheck. You do the business that you were sent here to do, or at least sent there to do. And we look at our lives all wrong. We think our existence here is about carving out some kind of pleasure when we don't realize that this is the job site. The world is the occupation and the kingdom is home. So whatever we're doing here, we're doing so that we unlock treasures there. We're doing it for the White Claws back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not down here expected to behave just because. It's because we're at work. So when you have that New Life resolution, it's kind of like realizing, oh man, my existence is not about me. It's not about having fun or being comfortable or driving cool cars or being important or making people like me, but it's really about appeasing God. doing what God called me to do, hoping that when I reach the end of my life, God will look at me and say, well done, good and faithful servant. You know, when Jesus looks at people and says, I never knew you, you don't want to be one of those people. You want to be his buddy because you were always on the comms. What can I do for you today, Father? How can I advance your kingdom today, God? That's my concern. I am resolved to solve the problems in my life by letting you work, by trusting God, taking the risk and doing the work. That's the formula. And if you decide that you want to change or that you need to change, the only way you're going to be able to do that is through a much higher cause than yourself. And again, like I said, there is no greater cause. There is no higher cause than the Most High and the kingdom of heaven. That is a fact. Amen. So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, just reiterating on that, I really do hope to write that as a book. And I kind of know how it would go, and it's only a couple hundred pages, and it'd be nice and concise, but I do want to do that, and I think you guys can expect to see that book in the future, because it's about taking kingdom formula and applying it to your life and feeling the actual change. And there's no better way to demonstrate it than by living it yourself, because it's self-fulfilling, right? In the same way that we talk about how the resolution is the answer to the problem, the resolve within is the motivation to get it done. It's both the instrument and the power pack at the same time. And that is incredible. There is no other transformative process in the world that anyone can point to quite like this, that allows you to leave behind all of the distractions at once. It isn't just about taking on a new hobby or a new habit or leaving behind, like, oh, I'm going to quit smoking. It's like a complete, like a reptile shedding their skin. It's a brand new baby of the kingdom, ready for the milk of the word, ready to eventually grow and have meat and then go on and be a king and priest in the kingdom. This is a real job, and it's much bigger than being anything that you can get hired to do here in the world. There's no paycheck that equates to serving in the kingdom. And even the Revelation account tells you that there'll be people rewarded differently for their works. And it says that people are rewarded for what they do. It's not that everybody just, goes to hell or not because they act good, right? The answer's somewhere in between grace and work. You're saved by grace, but you're rewarded for works. So let's do it, let's get some work done. It's not about fearing for your safety. You're still going to be saved by God through Christ. His blood was shed for you. But now where is our blood shed for him? Where is the blood, sweat, and tears of hard work that is expected of someone who receives such a gift? You ever gotten something you didn't deserve before and you were like, oh, I got to make it up to you. This is such a great favor. I really wish I hadn't called upon you, but I didn't have anyone else to call on. You came and you towed my car out, or you rescued me from that crazy situation, whatever, and you feel indebted. You should. We should have a culture of people that aren't able to forget what Jesus did. And for me, I do realize that. I think about it all the time, like, well, I can't just sit here and let the world rot, because that's not what he would want of us. He wouldn't want us to just tune it out, kick the can down the road and pretend like everything's okay. He wouldn't want us to approach a new year and say, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need a New Year's resolution, or my whole life is not a complete disaster. I need a new life resolution. That's what he really wants from you. And for a lot of us, that is where we are right now. We're on the journey, the narrow way, the new life resolution painted for us by Christ Jesus, who's literally paved the way for us to be able to see a better purpose in life than dying for carnal crap, warfare, money, hordes of treasure, property, experience, reputation. All these things are dust and air. They don't make it to the other side. The only stuff that makes it to the other side is good works. And so that's our motivation. We do things because of the higher purpose for which we are motivated, the kingdom of God. That's what compels us to do greater things, not a day of the year or a desire from a fat loser to not be one anymore. Our souls are rotten. Our hearts are darkened. And the only way to fix this is through the light of Christ. And that's not going to come from the guy with the problem is not the guy with the solution. And if we're the guy with the problem, we need the guy with the solution. That is Christ Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. Amen. Anyway, it's never too late to write a book. I will do that in the near future. When I get to the end of this big documentary project, I'm going to have some more time freed up. And so I think that's going to be my next project, is the book. So we'll talk about that in the future. Right, so we're getting ready to go into the future here. That is one of the important things about this time of the year, New Year's Eve, and going, like I said, into 2026 and everything that we're expected to see in terms of all this unraveling of civilization, all this noticing at an all-time high. It is quite incredible. And in order to talk about the future, we have to talk about what's going on today, right? Like, where we're headed is directly decided by where we are and what direction we're facing, you know? Like, if you're at the top of the mountain and you're facing down the mountain and you begin forward, you're going to start going down the mountain. You know, it's very simple, but sometimes the mountain is misunderstood. The mountain of crap that we're sitting on right now, like the amount of problems we're dealing with, I think sometimes it's misunderstood. And so it's worth taking the time to look at this. The garbage pile that we're standing on, right? And understanding the severity, the intensity, the reality of it, I think that's very important too. And one thing I think is it's good. I try to err on the side of hope and positivity if I can, because I struggle so much with being just this negative realist about how everything is so bad, it's so cooked. I try not to fall into black pill because that's not very kingdom-minded, right? Like, this is kingdom of total victory. It's not like we're gonna actually lose. Even if they killed me today, I'd just go to the kingdom now. You know what I mean? If we can really rationalize that and keep it in the forefront of our minds, we're way more effective, because we're not going to get dissuaded or deterred or grow weary, because we can consider him, right, who endured such opposition from sinful men. What we're dealing with now, it sucks, but they haven't whipped us until our back is flayed. They haven't put a crown of thorns on our head and crucified us yet. And even if they do, I'll be a glorious man for that in the kingdom. I'd be happy to do it. I mean, maybe once I was dead, then I'd be glad when it was over. But you know what I mean? So if we can have that kind of mentality, it makes us very dangerous, because what they use to control you is fear that you'll lose your money, or that you'll lose your family, or your car, or your truck, or the things you've worked for, when it's really like your boss is threatening to take your desk away at work. It's not your desk. This is just a job site. All the equipment belongs to dust. If it goes back to dust, so be it. And we have to learn to be that way, or we'll never stop pearl clutching the little garbage that we have as the world is erased before our very eyes. They're destroying civilization, and everyone's afraid to do anything about it because they don't want to go to jail. I totally get it, but why? We need to be smarter than that. They can't take everybody to jail. They can't arrest all of us. That's when the body thing comes up. We'll talk more about that later, but I'm amazed. I have to say, the positive note about the world today, although it's a garbage pile, there's a lot of nice stuff in the dump for those who are scavenging around. There's plenty of content to be made by observing how crazy things are, and I have nothing against the people that are observing it. I think that people observing and reporting it are some of the most effective and useful. Like, the Overton window has totally shifted, okay? There's a guy I watch sometimes, he's called JD DeLay. He's gone pretty viral in the last couple of years. He's like a former, a non-violent, non-sexual offender, but he was a convict. He spent years in prison. He reformed his life, right? He had a new life resolution because of Jesus, I might add, and he decided he wanted to be like a good guy. And of course, he's rough around the edges. I resonate with JD so much because he's a freaking convict. I always feel bad because so many people in our community are like churchy, came out of church, and then I like drop an F-bomb, and then I'm being judged over that when there's literally people like trafficking kids. I'm like, we've got bigger fish to fry than my potty mouth. I'm working on it. But guys, seriously, I swear, I've had people like unsub and be like, I can't follow you anymore, you're too brash. The world is brash. You're not going to be able to hide on Happy-Go-Lucky Island for much longer, my friends. If I'm brash to you, you are woefully naive about the state of the world, my guy. I just gotta tell you. Consider me terror soft. Fascist light. You know what I mean? Like, I could be way worse, and I try really hard not to be, because in my anger I get this whole line them all up and open fire. Like, that's how I gotta not be that way. That's not the very righteous way to be. So hear me out. So JD, he's on YouTube, and I remember it like it was yesterday. People were getting banned for the lightest thing. Like, it's like the mask thing, right? Oh, you point out the fact that the microns of filter on the mask are larger than the particles of viral particle, it doesn't even work. It's like throwing marbles at a chain link fence. They just go right through it. And then you posted that and you're banned and you're silenced for misinformation. And it was like such a shutdown and you couldn't say anything. And the Overton window has clearly shifted. And this is why I think it's so important that we have this discussion, because a few years ago it wasn't like this. It used to be like if you said the wrong thing, you were just banned. But so many people are saying the wrong thing that YouTube can't ban everyone or else they don't have a website anymore. You see what I'm saying? They need money. So they need creators and they need eyes on screen so they can sell money or sell ads to make money. You see what I'm saying? They go where the money goes. All of these people, they follow whatever the majority is forcing them to do. At the end of the day, the only reason we're not on like a giant cattle ranch is because there's just too many of us who would not go quietly into the dark, and they haven't yet taken away our means to defend ourselves, right? This is a common conversation when you look at the state of the world today. You say, the reason we're not literally being ground up into Soylent is because it would be a very hard battle to achieve that, and it's better to slowly kill us death by 1,000 cuts. That's what we're going through right now. But I'm just so amazed. I'm so amazed, and I think it's such a good sign. Like 2025, it has its share of problems, and there's all kinds of reasons to be concerned, and I think we should be, but we should also look at the fact that, like, I see a convict with a big beard, and, like, he's come so far, right? He's got, like, chains. He's successful. He's, like, grown as an influencer. He has lots of good supporters. I'm so proud of that guy. You know, I remember when his channel first started, he only had a few, and he was going viral for yelling about the problems. He's famous because his famed, you know, thing he's known for is that all the pedophiles need to be sent into the wood chipper feet first, and he just yells this on YouTube. He's on YouTube. He's like, this is a wood chipper team, a club wood chipper. Everybody needs, all the pedophiles need to be ground up feet first through the chipper. And I'm just like, it's so crazy to think that we've come so far that a guy can be on YouTube calling people retards and talking about people needing to be sent feet first through the wood chipper. And I'm impressed, man. We've done an incredible work here. We, the people of the world, have just refused to be silenced. They banned you, so you made another account and started posting six-sided stars in the comment section. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. It's like a war that's actually turning, where we were for so long just in the concentration camp, just being browbeaten by the system, and now you've got people out there fighting day in and day out, tooth and nail. And I don't care if people are perfect. I don't think Nick Fuentes is perfect. I don't think Owen Schroyer is perfect. I don't think Styx Hexenhammer is perfect. I don't care. I care that people see the problem and they won't let it go, right? When I did that show a few weeks ago with Ceiling Fan Man and we talked about it, we're like, they wanted the Epstein thing to just go away. Why are you still talking about this? We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to bring resolution to a world in turmoil. We're going to keep talking about it, and then we're going to be acting on it, and then we're going to be finishing the job. That's what's going to happen, and that's why the Overton window has shifted, is because enough people believe that we can and we should and we have to do something about the world we're in. It's not just going to go away, right? We can't just sit here and pretend like all the problems that we're facing in the world are just going to whittle away, turn to dust and go away. No, they're getting worse. And that's the reason why there's such a rise in the exposure of this kind of corruption, because it's so prevalent and because they've become so emboldened in this age, right? So the most recent thing that you guys have heard, and it's probably, of course, a distraction, but it is really taking place, and that's kind of the power they have as the puppet masters holding all the cards, is, you know, they're privy to all of their own scams going on, and they know that high-level scams are scandalous and take up media airwaves, and so they know that they've been caught with the whole Mossad compelled Jeffrey Epstein. It's like an Israeli multi-generational blackmail cult of human trafficking pedophiles, and they've got all the politicians and Hollywood actors and public influencers and everybody at corporation head, and all of these people are all compromised and evil and totally rotten, and they're all in on it together, covering up for each other, and the exposure happens in the form of these Epstein files, and Trump's in on it, and the Democrats, and both sides are dirty, and they're all wretched, and it turns out it was all true. They're all bad guys, okay? And then the result of this is that instead of any person being arrested or any kind of accountability, they're allowing other stories to break. They're allowing other things to happen so that we'll talk about them. The most recent, obviously, being the Minnesota healthcare and daycare fraud scandal where all these Somalians have like 20 healthcare offices and they're not actually caring for anybody in there. They're just collecting state subsidies and paying themselves exorbitant salaries and literally stealing the American dream from you and me to pay for these foreigners to come into our country and defraud the system and for the government to knowingly allow it and then call you racist for pointing it out. That is the state of the world right now, and I can see why that is a sore subject for people, right? I saw a report earlier. It was this gal, she's got a high-end job. I don't know what she's involved in, probably legal, like something in the law field, lawyer, attorney, something. And she has a $185K a year job, which is a lot of money. Oh boy, you almost can't get a job that pays that much, but they're out there. $185K, and this gal pays like over $60,000 in U.S. Taxes. Income and otherwise, property and whatever. $60,000 in taxes. That's like an entire salary for somebody else. And your money is being taken away from you and from your kids and from their shoes and from their sports, from vital chapters of their life and development that will be foundational for the kind of people they are when they grow up. You know, I just watched, we did this whole tournament here at my work for the last couple weeks as like the big winter indoor sports tournament. And you see all these kids running around on teams and stuff. And it's just a reality that those kids come from families that have more money than my family had growing up. I never had money to be like on the sports team or to have sports equipment and stuff. And I didn't turn out very good. You know, I can't help but think that maybe if I had grown up with a normal childhood where I'd like been allowed to have team sports and that there was money and resource for me to be like invested in, that I would have had more of a normal outlook and been more normal and more adjusted perhaps. I can't know that. I don't know. But when I see these operations taking place, I think that's what we're fighting to preserve, so that normal kids can have a normal life and have a soccer team comprised of other kids from any walk of life, and they can play together and they can get knocked down and help each other up, even if they're not on the same team. When I see that happening, I say, why can't we do that on a grand scale? Why can't we be good sportsmen? Why can't we take care of each other? Why can't we feed the world? The only reason we can't is because the world is under the control of a puppeteering, Talmudic, satanic death cult, and they are exposed to the public today. What used to be an insane conspiracy, oh, the world's run by a bunch of evil laser-firing Jews from space. Okay, that was crazy a second ago, and now everybody notices. The Overton window has shifted incredibly far over. Like, to a point that it's like there are almost no end to the number of people and channels reporting on and exposing this stuff at a level we've never seen before. It has now become socially acceptable to talk about the corruption in our government. Finally you can say it. I remember this too. When I was, 14? It's like 2008. Literally, I remember it like it was yesterday, but like when Obama became president, I was like a freshman, or I guess, yeah, I must have been a freshman in high school, if that matters. But at the time, I was like a punk rocker. Like that was the kind of culture I was involved in. And as a little punk rock kid, you're taught kind of these punk rock ideas, and they're about stuff like, oh, the government is corrupt, and you can't trust the media, and la la la, right? And war for money. Like you hear these ideas kind of come down the pipe as a punk, but it's not like, there's no class. There's no teaching you why. You just kind of hear these ideas. Corruption, you know, media, corruption. Like, but you don't really know what that is. And I had developed a sort of consciousness that maybe the government was evil and the media was bad. And then I saw the same people in the group who were like, yeah, the government's bad and the media's bad. Unless the government is like liberal and gives away money to whatever cult demographics who refuse to have jobs, or foreigners who aren't even part of your country. They're taking the money from people who work and giving it to people who don't. And I'm like, isn't that the same thing as government corruption? And then the media won't talk about it, and so isn't that the same as media corruption? I just saw vast hypocrisy and ignorance, because it's all like, oh, we can identify there's a problem, but then we won't talk about it. Or it's only a problem if it's culturally conservative. Then it's okay if the government's corrupt if it's massive and liberal. You know what I mean? I just saw, that is such crap, man. You guys have no idea. And so for me, it was like I had a homelessness occur to me when I was like a teenager. Obama's becoming president. The country's rapidly sliding down the slippery slope. Okay, gay marriage is now legal. Oh, sure, that'll end great. You know, I was like 15 years old saying, what's next? Like, drag queen story hour? Yes. And the disaster that was that whole thing. And I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm just saying you could see the writing on the wall even then. And I was politically homeless because you had to pick a stupid side in this whole dichotomy. And that, I think, is the thing that is most transcendent about 2025, is that people have finally begun to see that they're all on the same team. It's literally us versus them. The state of the world's corruption and problems and mass death and theft and fraud and wretched, hateful, smug evil. And when I say smug evil, I mean the majority of these villains, whether it's the political offices, the sinister corporate leaders, or even the Somalians running welfare fraud. You see them on video. They're caught in the act, and they know they're not going to get in trouble. They're smiling. No, we cannot give you service. Sorry, sir. It's like, you smug bastards. Like, I've gotten to the point where it's like, I'm over it, man. No offense. And let me clarify that to all the creators and individuals who are out here reporting, recording, expressing, explaining, researching, and just the advancement of knowledge for the noticing, that I hope is nonpartisan, because both sides are evil, and it's not exclusively the nation of Israel. The problems of the world are they're transcending governments, nations, and religions. It's not Jewish, it's not Muslim, it's not Christian. None of these individual sects of ideas actually represent the evil satanic cult that runs the world. And if people don't recognize that, they're missing it. They're missing the point. The problems that we're seeing in the world are important that people see, because they need to know that they are real, and they need to understand the veracity of all this. They need to realize that this is an actual problem actually happening, and it's kind of like oil in the water, and it's slowly brushing farther up the beach with every little wave that crashes. The stink, the rot, the corruption, the taint is growing in the world every day, and people acknowledge it. They recognize it. They're sharing it. It's important, okay? And I want to reiterate time and time again that although I'm not that kind of creator, I don't like to be like, guys, look at what they're doing in Minnesota. The government corruption. Look at all these smiles. I don't like to give light to it, because I already know and I hate it. But I understand the importance of people who don't know finding out. So congrats and thank you to everybody who's doing this. But I have this one problem that seems to just be consistent for me. And it's really just that I don't see a solution being offered. And I try really hard not to make these everyone this or nobody this statements, and I do it all the time because it's like in scientific method, you know, if 9 out of 10 are something, we don't concern ourselves with the one that's not. So it's like when I say everybody's doing it or nobody's doing it, usually what we mean whenever anybody says that is that mostly, almost everyone, those that are not are an insignificant value compared to the totality of those that are, and vice versa. And I try not to make those statements again because I know that it's not everyone or no one literally, but I'm just saying that the majority of people right now do need to see this stuff. They need to see how bad Israel is, how evil they are, how often they turn on the treaties. They need to see that our politicians are sold out to them, that they're pedophiles, that they go to the Epstein Island, which is connected to Mossad, which is an Israeli Jewish version of the CIA, which our CIA is the same thing, and Tucker Carlson's part of it, and Sean Ryan's part of it. They're all dirty. Do you make $350,000 a month on Patreon? No. Well, then don't worry. We're not coming for you. Okay? Like, it's very clear who they are and who we are. We go to work every day. We pay rent and mortgages. We don't fly around on private jets or ride around on yachts or make millions of dollars annually. Okay, it's a secret special club and you ain't in it, and we already know that. And so I'm not going to argue with anybody about it, but the long story short is that it is real, and now people after 2025 have begun to acknowledge and realize that it is real, and they of course don't know the breadth and depth. Like, how could you? Well, some of us have spent nearly 15 years coming to the realization of how deep the rot really is. And so when I seem upset, it's probably because I'm deeper than most people on how bad I know, like how far I know how bad this is. I don't even know how to articulate it. The long story short is I've been in the trenches a while, so I know how bad it is. And so my exasperation or my angst about it all is heightened because I've been in the fight for a while now. I've been watching this stuff go down for a while, and I get to the point where I'm just tired. Like, I don't want to watch videos about how bad it is because it's like, oh, what, more limbless children? I heard it earlier today. It was Jackie Chan was talking about this, where he said that he was interviewing some children that he was talking to in Gaza, and he said that the little kid said to him, kids don't grow up in Gaza. And that's because every kid knows another kid that's dead. You know what I mean? And that's just so dark, dude. Like, why are we living in that reality right now and not doing anything about it? And you look at all the comment sections of all these channels that are reporting how bad it is, talking about how bad it is, which I said is necessary. It must come to pass. But the comment sections always say the same thing. Why are we letting this happen? Why does this keep happening? What are we going to do about this? When are we going to put a stop to this? Who is putting a stop to this? Who is doing something about this? And you just don't see it. And even the content creators, a JD Delay or this guy Rathbone over here who's like talking about Israel a lot, and Owen Schroyer or anybody. It could be an evangelical leader, church leaders that may even identify that we shouldn't just be blindly, mindlessly supporting Antichrist Zionists who hate Jesus. I mean, I think we should literally reevaluate. I respect a pastor to say so, but they're not offering a solution. And this is one of those where I shouldn't be using a generative or a generalization and say nobody, because I don't really know that. But it feels like there is not a solution being offered. Like that when it comes to our lives and our problems, we recognize that we need something bigger than us to fix the problems in us. We need a new life resolution. I look at the world and I say, we need a new world resolution. We need an answer to the world's problems that is both a solution, an active solution, as well as the motivation for why. You see what I'm saying? In the same way that our own lives are lost to sin and death without Jesus, our world is lost to sin and death without the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So when I look at the world at large, as a kingdom citizen, it's different now. For the worldly people, for the atheists, for the black-pilled, and for even Christians who don't know the kingdom, the world's problems seem like this impossible thing. It's too big. The problems in the world are too vast. There's too many enemies. The enemies are too large, too numerous. And to that I say, the kingdom of God is bigger than the enemies of the world. The kingdom of God is bigger than the number of enemies in the world. The power of the kingdom of God is not at all trumped by the circumstance or the state of the way things are in the world right now. And to believe that we are powerless and hopeless is a lie and a fallacy. It is the same do-nothing doctrine of can-kicking and hiding and faithlessness and cowardice and fear that has caused the world to reach the state of destruction that it's in right now. What has happened is that people have been trained to hide and run and wait instead of taking on the responsibility. Imagine you were at your job, and your job had something to do with loading packages into a truck or something. And the packages come and the pallet gets dropped and you just sit there staring at it. Are you a good employee? I think that you're lazy. And so here we have this world, and we've been placed in it intentionally by God, and we've been awoken to the reality of Jesus Christ and the kingdom by God, who called us unto himself. And then we have the audacity to sit here and think, you can't change the world. You don't have what it takes to change the world. God wants us to be miserable. And I find that to be the biggest churchianity lie of all time. You see, what religion does is it teaches you to be content in your iniquity. It teaches you to accept things the way they are. But kingdom teaches you that you have authority over these things. And that's the difference. You don't have to live in a world of shit because you are from a world of power and love and authority, not of fear, not of cowardice, not of laziness and frailty. And so I, as a kingdom citizen, see my problems in my life needing the real medicine, Jesus Christ, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and he can resolve what's wrong with me. And so then I look at the world outside and I say, this world needs a solution too, because the problem extends farther than me. It's not my government. It's not my kingdom. It's not my, I'm not running the show here. I'm not president of anything. So how do I have a say in anything? Well, it's not going to come from getting an elected office in their broken system. The authority and the power to change the world comes from outside of this world. Just like when Jesus Christ performed miracles on the earth, he said, "My kingdom is not of this world." He didn't look around for assets here on earth, for order, for money, for resource. He didn't look at the problems of his time and say, well, I guess I can't do it because I'm just one man. He said, I come from a kingdom that is not of this world, and that is the same thing as you and me. And so if we're going to consider the importance of that, if we're going to acknowledge that in our own lives, and we have to acknowledge it in the world around us, I want to tell you guys about a thing. It's called Paint the Town Red. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. It's like an old town thing or old world thing. Paint the town red. It means to go out and celebrate wildly, having boisterous, fun, and lively time, often involving drinking, dancing, and general revelry in public places, leaving a big, colorful impression. It suggests an energetic, unrestrained spree of entertainment, like a big party or a wild night out. Origin theories. Literal vandalism. A popular folktale credits the phrase to the Marquis of Waterford and his friends who literally painted buildings red in an 1837 drunken spree in Melton Mowbray, England, though evidence linking this directly to the idiom's origin is debated. American slang, some historians suggest it arose in the U.S. around the 1880s, possibly referencing the red light districts, bars, brothels, or the red glare from bonfires and steamboat fires in the American West. You know, I think that's all interesting and everything. Let's not let it be solely about being drunk and causing problems, but generally, paint the town red means to go and have a good time, to make the best of the night, right? New Year's Eve, what do you do on New Year's Eve? You paint the town red, you have a lot of fun. I want to propose to you guys something incredibly different about what it means to paint the town red. Now, if we look at the book of Exodus in chapter 12, we learn about the Passover, and I'm just going to read to you guys straight out of it. So this is Exodus 12, New King James Version. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month shall be the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you." Interesting. "Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, on the 10th of this month, every man shall take for himself a lamb according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the persons. According to each man's need you shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. Now you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at twilight. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. Then they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its entrails. You shall let none of it remain until morning, and what remains of it until morning you shall burn with fire. And thus you shall eat it, with a belt on your waist, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. So you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt on that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Now the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. So compelling, guys. Paint the town red, okay? What does it mean to be a believer? It means that your heart has been covered by the blood of the Lamb. So when we look at a new life resolution, what do we need? We need that covering. We need that atonement. So the Lamb of God paid the price for our souls, for our sin and iniquity, and inside of our hearts, there's been a new life resolution. And that is that your heart and your soul has been painted red by his blood, and that you are washed clean by that. So when we look at the world and we say, what is the solution to the problems in the world? If the world around us is rotten and decayed, if there's a plague coming down the pipe and there's no hope but to experience death and decay and destruction, the loss of the firstborn, the darkness over the land, fire falling from the sky, if we're going to have plagues on our world, parasite cultures and rotten evil scum pilfering the lifeblood of the people of the earth, there's only one option. There's only one resolution. There's only one thing we can do. If what we need inside is the medicine, then what we need outside is the medicine. And so I propose, paint the town red, okay? Paint the town red. Hear me out about this, right? If painting your heart red with the blood of Christ is what washes your soul of your iniquity and sin, that you use that righteous path to enter into the kingdom, that's for you. But what about for the world around us? How do we paint the town red? I'm talking about practical solution. I'm talking about the actual way that we stop the degeneracy, the slippery slope that has consumed society and is currently and continually destroying the world, right? You can't deny that this is happening. You can't run from it. It's only a matter of time before the problems we see outside, on the news, in the media, wherever, on everybody's stream as they report it, it's only a matter of time before it comes to your doorstep, to where you are hit in the eye with a stick with a screw sticking out of it by some crazy person who's been released from jail 18 times. And you'll find out that they're not going to serve time for gouging your eye out. Okay? That's the direction the country's going. That's the direction the world's going. And there is nothing that's going to stop it if we all just sit around hoping it'll stop. It requires us to do what's necessary to paint the town red. So hear me out on this. What does paint the town red look like? Look at your own life. What has God given you responsibility over? When you look at your own life, your own circumstance, your own soul and spirit, you have painted your heart red with the restorative, atoning blood of Christ. And so because of that, you've been given new life in Him. The old man has passed away. This is the greatest resolution. It's not just, oh, tomorrow I don't smoke or tomorrow I don't eat raspberry-filled donuts. It's like you're so beyond that now because you've had such a higher personal trainer, such a higher cause and means and purpose for which you're doing your change and transformation. And you are fueled not only through the solution, the resolution that you're committed to, but it is also the resolve that is empowering you. We need to take that and apply that to the world around us. And it starts in very simple ways. Let me explain it to you guys, because everybody is out here talking about the problems, but no one's offering the solution. Here we are, everyone and no one, okay? I'm not seeing the solution, okay? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the wrong solution. Fine, be my guest. But I don't see a lot of other options on the table, so maybe we can debate it. But until somebody else offers something better, I'm going to keep advancing what I think is right. What I believe the Lord has showed me is correct. And so this is that. Paint the town red. What do you have jurisdiction over in your life? Okay? So when you paint your heart red and you enter into the kingdom, that happens internally. Kingdom within. And we look at the world around us and we say, how do we get the kingdom inside us to be the kingdom around us? That's our job here in the world, to be ambassadors of His kingdom, arbiters of such, colonists, right? We're supposed to be expanding His kingdom and influence. That's our job. And so as we're here in the world, taking on the divine mission to do so, we have to ask, how can we practically do it? Because right now, there's all these evil organizations, corrupt actors, massive theft and fraud and everything, and it seems so overwhelming. How are you supposed to get to the bottom of this? Well, the answer is actually simple. Like I said, paint the town red. What is it that you have jurisdiction over in your life? You can decide to paint your clothes red, to paint your car red, to paint your house red. Your neighbor might need help painting their house red. Maybe they want to, but they're just not sure they're ready to commit. Because when one guy tries to paint the house red by himself, all of a sudden the HOA shows up and starts commanding that he paints his house white again, or gray, or whatever the color is that they want. The same corrupt system that has ruined the world wants to tell you what color your house needs to be. They'd love you to paint your soul black. They'd love you to worship Lucifer. They'd love you to join their strange LGBT cult. You know, that's what they want to do with you. And if you try to alone stand up and paint your house red, they're going to shut you down. That's why it's so important that we come together as a body. It's why Christ gave us the formula of the body, because together we are stronger than when we are alone. And so when we decide that the solution is we must paint the town red, then we need everybody to paint the town red together. We need to be unified in that pursuit, because we need to pass over this plague. We need to get away from this disease that's rotting society and the world from the inside while it's simultaneously being attacked from the outside. We can't defend against this on our own. We need the medicine. The world needs the medicine, and the medicine is the blood of Christ, the power of His kingdom and righteousness. And the only way we're going to get that is if we work together to make it happen. Hear me out on this, right? You can paint your own car. You can paint your own house. You can paint your own shirt and face paint or whatever you want to do. You can paint everything you have red, but you can't change the world around you because you're just one man, one woman. But let's say you paint your house red and your neighbor paints the house red and the guy across the street paints the house red. And then you got 2 or 3 other houses that aren't painted red, and all of a sudden people feel like they're left out. They're not getting the benefit of the red paint. And so they're wishing they had red paint too. Because the red paint is where all the good stuff's going, right? That's where all that Passover is taking place. That's where all the kingdom influence is. Who has a nicer life than other people? People who paint the town red. People who have a good time, right? And so if other people see that you're having a good time, they're going to want to have a good time. It's the same reason why YouTube allows JD DeLay to go on here and scream about how people are retarded and they need to be blended up in a wood chipper for being a pedophile. If you can say that, then you can say more, and you can say worse, and you can make them let you. And then what? Paint the town red, my friend. Soon, I'm painting the sidewalk outside my house. Oh, that's not my jurisdiction? Sorry. Sit and spin, my friend. You've been telling me what to do this whole time, so now someone else is sitting in the big boy chair. Now I'm the one telling you that we're going to paint the sidewalk red, and while you're at it, we're painting the city park red. We're painting City Hall red. We're not just going to sit here and allow the world to continually go down the tubes because other people have historically done nothing. The world is in shambles. People need to know it, but what people need more is a solution they can get behind. People need an organization that represents sane thinking. People need a Christian, traditional, values and righteousness-based worldview. We need an alternative representation for government. We need alternative representation for culture. We need alternative representation for justice and for police and for military and for enforcement of righteousness. All around the world are millions of people saying, why do we keep letting this happen? Because there's no one who's working to stop it from happening. The people that you trust for your elections, it's fraud. We just saw this happen. It was just another one of these black pills that's being announced in recent weeks, is that back in 2020, remember when Joe Biden won the election by an absurd amount of votes, and unrealistically won by more than Obama, apparently, everybody knew it was BS, and back then, if you talked about it, you were banned and silenced because of dangerous misinformation. And they went ahead and made sure that everybody knew that it was the most secure election in history, they called it, just to spite you and to smile. You know, I said it's like they're smug as they do this to you. They're smiling, the most secure election in history. Don't you know? And they know they're lying. They know it's bogus. And like just 2 weeks ago, it comes out, absolute fact-based facts. 300,000 ballots in the state of Georgia circumvented the legal structure for the election. Over 300,000 ballots signed and approved that were counted in the election. If you believe all that, it doesn't really matter. They're not real anyway. But they're proving it now. They're saying, oh, you were right. Not that we're sorry, not that we're paying you for illegally silencing you, not that there's a class action lawsuit against YouTube and Pfizer and the government. We should all be very rich people today because of the settlement they have to pay for violating our constitutional rights. These people are committing human rights violations. You hear those words and you think, oh, they must be stacking up genocided bodies. It's the same thing. They are as guilty as stacking genocided bodies for silencing you because you were right and it didn't benefit them. And now we're what? It's 5 years later. Oh, everybody knows they lied. Everybody knows they faked the fucking election. Everybody knows they poisoned everybody with that fucking vaccine. And Trump pardons Fauci and they just dust their hands of it and all these people just get away with it. The people are sick and tired of it. And if that's too much for you, because you're too comfortable in hiding and kicking the can down the road, and you're not feeling empowered or angry or charged up to do something, it's because you're not in the kingdom. You don't care. Because people in the kingdom don't look at their house burning down and say, oh, well, I can't do anything about it. It's the most nonsense thing in the world. Someone in the kingdom looks at the problems and they say, not only is it my responsibility, I have to go out and do it. Me and whoever will join me in the body, because this is our job. This is what we were sent here to do. You're a barista, make coffee, and shut up. I'm so sick of the church, this age of continual futurism. We're waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for the second coming. We're waiting for the rapture. We're waiting for the Gog-Magog battle. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of that pervasive garbage that's always about waiting for someone else to do something. There's a reason why Jesus called you into his fold, so that he could use you for his Father's mission. And if you're not invested in the Father's mission, get ready, because the Bible clearly states that if you are lukewarm, he will vomit you from his mouth. And Jesus Christ makes it very clear that you are either with him or you are against him. And there is no person alive today in the Western world whose tax money goes to kill babies who can say that's a Christian way of living. You might get mad at me because I say these people gotta go. We gotta see their eyeballs bulging as they take a long drop on a short rope, and that might make you think I'm a bad guy for saying it, but you know what? You pay to murder kids and you do nothing about it, so don't lecture me about what's right and wrong. The reality is that it's going to cost some violence to fix the world, and God kills people, and people are just gonna have to accept that. Maybe you don't like it because you like your churchianity version where Jesus holds little lambs and speaks kindly to children. Well, they killed that guy, and what they got in response was a conquering king who is alive today and king today, and the culture of who he is exists in the hearts of his people, those who truly love him and follow his commands. And so you might think I'm brash and overbearing and rough around the edges, but I am one of the only people that I've ever heard of who says this is what must be done, and we must do it together. No more wishing that somebody would lock up those judges. No more asking why nothing's being done. It's time to get organized, unified, and to say no. And if you're at all worried about how that's going to go, just keep in mind that right now, the world is under the control of an oppressive multi-generational oligarchy of corporate pedophile trannies and everybody else that's involved in this shit. And I can tell you right now that the only reason they operate is because we don't do anything to stop them. There's nothing that's stopping us from building a parallel system and cutting them out of it. What if we made a new currency and told all the billionaires, you're broke, bud. You don't own anything. And that's if we were merciful enough to not just round them all up for the crimes they committed that made them that rich. The answer is not going to come from sitting around in circles and doing Bible studies anymore. We're in a new era of humanity. It is a new age, and God has called his people to action. The reason the world is in turmoil is because he is waiting on the kingdom to manifest in the hearts of people so that they will say to themselves, I can no longer turn a blind eye to this. The rest of the general public will do nothing. They will continue to follow orders and pay whatever the tax bill is and show up at 7 a.m. and clock in. The difference is, how badly are they going to be screwed? They're going to continue to be robbed of their life and time if we do nothing. But if we step in, if we take charge, if we bring an adult into the room, the real adult, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and we say, we're not going to live by these standards anymore because they're wrong. We're not going to allow ourselves to be forced into a lifestyle that goes against who we are as people, who we are in eternity. It's not acceptable that another dime from your paycheck, from your grocery bill, from your car gas tank fill up, every cent that we spend, and they take it and they spend it on evil, satanic purposes, and we don't do anything about it, so they just keep doing it. And the reality is that the majority of people will do nothing no matter who's ordering them around because they just want to be left alone. They just want to pay their bills. They just want to feed their kids. And I'm grateful. Congratulations for your motivation to the things of this world. Kindly stand aside as real leaders take charge because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take real leaders, the understanding that we have to get together and work together. It means all of these people, whether it's the Nick Fuentes, JD DeLay, it doesn't even matter. It could be me, Sticks, anyone. I don't care if you're politically conservative or politically liberal. I don't care if you're religiously Catholic or Islamic. I don't even care if you don't like the idea of Christian dominion. It's beside the point. It is us versus them. It is a degenerate, evil, satanic cult destroying the world, and the only option is an actual, real, organized, unified human resistance collectively. Otherwise, we could just keep kicking the can down the road and see what happens, and I'm just not accepting that as an option. If that's the kind of person you want to be, continue to go to Sunday school, continue to have your little church thing until they close it down, continue to pay $5 a gallon for milk, and $5 a gallon for gas, and $8 for a box of Frosted Flakes. At this point, it's just going to keep getting worse. The last time they updated the federal minimum wage was 2009. Minimum, meaning that you are the lowest. You, the minimum worker, you are the lowest bug in the terrarium. And in 2009, over 15 years ago, they decided they don't even care about you anymore. You, the lowest plebeian on the totem pole, you're not worth anything. We're not even going to bother updating the minimum wage anymore. We're just going to leave you all to rot at $7 an hour. You want to work for a whole hour for a gallon of gas, my friend? You want to tell me how that's fair? And yet, while they're doing that to us, everybody just does it. They pull up to the station, they pay the bill. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but that just is what it is. And you know what those people will do when they get told that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess? They'll get on their knees and they'll confess, because it's the same thing they do every day for this piece of shit system. Bend over and swipe your debit card for $9 for cereal. You're gonna do it? Why not? And so that's really what I think is the biggest piece that's missing, right? The necessity for all of us to unify together and to actually mount an actual resistance. I'm not talking about blowing people up. I'm talking about shutting them out of a new system. A new system with standards, and we say, you're not meeting them, so you're not in it. And we just start painting the town red until one day you have to be painted red, or else we burn your house down. I'm serious. We've gotten to the point where the mass murder and mass theft is you could execute 50,000 criminals and you'd save millions of lives doing it. I'm not going to be argued with about what's right and just anymore by people who enable child murder. If you think we should keep doing what we're doing, I don't like you. Okay, I'm just going to establish that now. If you think we should keep doing this, if you think we can't change the world, shut up, I don't like you. You're a shill for the satanic system. You like the misery cloud you're living in, and I can't help you. And I don't want to. You will be a slave there, then you'll be a slave here in the new kingdom, and that's fine by me. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord. And this is not going to end in some kind of, how do you think this ends? Revelation 21, let's pull it up. How do you think this ends? Who wins in this battle? Who? Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of the heavens, the heaven of God, right? There it is. I see the New Jerusalem coming down, right? And I heard a voice from heaven saying, behold, oh, that's not quite the right screen. Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Then he who sat on the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said to me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give of the fountain of water of life freely to him who thirsts. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. All of those people are going to burn. God does not make mistakes. So you can't tell me that he didn't create a lake of fire and include a lot of people in it on accident, or without the foresight of knowing that we were going to have enemies in this world. When God granted strength to Samson, he killed hundreds of Philistines. When God gave focus and accuracy to David, he crushed the skull of Goliath. In the Old Testament, God opened up the mouth of the earth and devoured entire tribes of people for their sin and insolence. Sodom and Gomorrah were scorched by holy fire. Not a single stone laid atop another in the temple in 70 AD when Jesus Christ wiped out the government of earth. You think that Rome in the time of Christ was anything better than the U.S. government today? You think these crappy, drug-addicted losers that run the deep state today are better than the Pharisees of the time of Christ? You think this is a more effective government than then? I don't think so. And if you're cowardly and unbelieving, you might just be rejected by the God who expects you to trust him and be empowered by him. Who really wins in the end? I saw a new kingdom, a new heaven and a new earth. I didn't see Satan take victory. I didn't see a world fully overrun, all white people exterminated, Western culture annihilated. That's not what the book says. And that's not who my king is. And so I no longer consider any of this to be a viable answer. If you think we should keep sitting around, you're just as bad as they are. There is no lukewarm anymore in this day and age. We expect zealots for the kingdom, ready to take on the world's problems. And if you have to figure out what that looks like, I'd be happy to show you. I'd be happy to teach you all about what it means to not feel like it's okay to turn a blind eye anymore. Because every day I see these problems, I say, why are we letting this happen? And to me, it says we need to do something. I'm empowered to do something now. And if that means I have to go out there and paint the town red by myself, then you will all watch me go down in a blaze of glory, and I will enter the kingdom a saint. That's the way I see it. And we could also work together and casually, calmly, simply be the adults in the room, take the scissors out of the booger-eating kid's hand and say, sit down. And if they don't, expulsion, execution. Literally, we're over it, dude. The amount of bodies piling up, I'm done playing nice, dude. It's over. We're living in the final days of Western civilization. The future of humanity relies on the choices we make today. We're all adults and we need to act like it. This is not about entertainment. This is not a TV show. This is not about a sitcom or an action movie where the good guy gets shot 10 times and that results in him sitting in an ambulance with a blanket on. The consequences are real. The results are real. Not only are we watching actual devastation, kids having their legs and arms blown off in Gaza and in other places, but we're also seeing, as I look at the last window of any semblance of normalcy, kids crashing into each other on the soccer field, and they're not wearing the same jersey. They're not even the same race. They may not even be the same gender, like a girl in a pink jersey and their team's pink and they're fighting on some team that's got white jerseys, and this large Mexican kid rams down the chick and then he helps her up. It's co-ed. Good sportsmanlike conduct, because that's normal. That we coexist together in a righteous society with rules and regulations and standards, and it's not about what race you are, what gender you are. It's about a bare minimum that the church has fully forgotten. I'm not asking you to go tell the world that everyone should be Christian. I'm saying that we are failing by letting the world be as rotten as it is. I don't expect everyone to believe in Jesus or to be a member of the kingdom, but they should eat like it. They should have shoes. They should have houses. They should have sanitation. There's no excuse. You go to your grocery store today and there's more fruit there than anyone's going to buy, and half of it or a third of it's going to go rotten, and the bread, it's not even expired, but they won't let you take it because it has to go to the food bank. They're not legally allowed to give it to you expired, even though you're hungry now, you're poor now. They're not legally allowed to give it to you. All this is nonsense and horse shit. America's economy is so powerful. All of us, we built the whole world. We go to work, we do the work, we take the check, and we pay the rent. These billionaires and these elites own nothing. They just say they have money because they have a bunch of zeros next to their account on their imaginary network. Who really owns the soil? Who really owns the salt of the earth? We do. We, the people of the world, the people of Christ's kingdom, we are the people who get to decide the fate of the universe. Not these heathens, not these atheists, not these failed fallacy religions of man, not this temporal human government built on the back of a lie from a bunch of Khazarians posing as Jews. All of this stuff is being revealed so that the world may be made into fertile ground for what God is planning in this age. It is time for the people of Christ's kingdom to come together and to be a living example of the difference between living in a world of degeneracy and painting the town red with the blood of the Lamb. We are not going to sit idly by while still children starve in other countries or while corruption goes unpunished in the land. You can't say what someone does with their heart, but you can say what color the sidewalk is, and damn right it's going to be red. We're going to end child sacrifice. We're going to end abortion. We're going to end human trafficking. We're going to end prostitution. We're going to end famine. We're going to end corruption. We're going to end warlords. We're going to end war. Because we can. Because we've not been given a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and power and of authority, most of all. Our kingdom is not of this world, and this world will soon learn the difference. And it's like I said, the majority of people are sheep, which is why Christ describes them as such. We are shepherds, and it's our jobs to take care of them. It's our job to deal with the wolves in the pen and to protect the sheep. The sheep are going to follow whoever holds the spear or the staff. And so it's our turn to take the staff and to establish a new government for the world, a new church. Not Christianity, not Catholicism. We have a king. We have a pope. We don't need me. We don't need a leader. We don't need Joel Osteen. We don't need some guy to be propped up as some hero for all of us. The answer is simple. Do what's right together, and the world will be made a better place. Paint the town red. It's not that complicated. Today is the beginning of a brand new year. Well, for some of you today, and maybe a couple hours from now. The reality is that we're going forward to face the music whether we like it or not. And I am done sitting idly by, humming along in the audience. It's time to play a solo. It's time to take center stage and say, listen, you look to your government, you look to your political parties, you look to your churches and to your mosques and to your local mayors and your representatives in Congress, and they fail you every single time. You look to the voting booth and you say, well, this time if I cast a ballot, it'll change. This time, if we just get our heart in the right place, well, maybe since Trump is such a disaster and a Zionist, maybe we can vote for Gavin Newsom. And again, I see failure because we're continuing to avoid the real resolution that is required to save this country and the rest of the world. It's the understanding that it's our responsibility and that we have the power to do it. That's all that it really takes. We start saying, man, this is so bad. Man, this is so ugly. Man, what they're doing sucks. I hate that they're not doing anything. But you know who is doing something about it? The Christian Dominion movement. You know who believes that we deserve better? Even you. Muslims, foreigners. I don't care if it's India, China, Africa. Every kid should have shoes on their feet. Every kid should have a roof over their head. Everybody should have a belly full of food. And there's no excuse because all that money, $40 trillion, you have any idea how much infrastructure we could have built in the world if it weren't for these thieving, lying, Talmudic scumbags? If it weren't for all these corrupt, bad actors just following orders? Every time a cop comes to arrest a guy for free speech, if it weren't for all of these shiftless, cowardly, absolute scumbags who have their place reserved in the lake of fire. And to me, honestly, I do not care if we give them an express delivery trip. Wood chipper feet first. That's right, JD. You've got it figured out because God kills people too. Let's not forget about it. He orders his people in there, every man, woman, and child. Stop misrepresenting God. When the heathen priests are praying to their deity, God sends the fire down and burns them to death. Don't think that this is not the same God who did that. The same God who destroyed his enemies will destroy his enemies again. Make sure you're not one of them. The world is about to change. You are witnessing the foundation and the soil of the new world order as we speak. This is the new world resolution, and it actually begins right here in a crazy conspiracy corner of the internet, of all places, right? It always comes from who you least expect. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a teacher. I'm not famous. I'm not rich. And I'm not even special or important. This is not something I came up with, and this is not my burden to bear. Think of me as just another guy on the relay team. Maybe I have the baton right now, but maybe you carry it from me next when they kill me. Keep that in mind because this is going to get really real. Starting now and going forward, the Christian Dominion movement is now going to take a new level of operation. We're going to start actively working to undo the situation that we're in. It doesn't take anything. We don't have to fight anybody. We just simply have to work together to bring awareness to the fact that all of that stuff finally has an enemy. There's finally a faction in the world that you can turn to and say, who is going to do something about this? We are. The real kingdom, the people of God, the Christian Dominion movement. And again, don't tell me that we can't change the world. because the world is a lot smaller than God. God is bigger than Goliath. God is bigger than the government. God is bigger than the deep state or the Talmudists. He's bigger than CERN. He's bigger than the Mandela effect. God is bigger than every conspiracy you can imagine, even the ones we've never heard of. God is bigger than every underground base. He's bigger than every ballistic missile system. He's bigger than every power plant and every roadway and every train station. God is bigger than every fiber of the system that controls you. And so you must acknowledge that. Not only that you are more powerful than this situation in Christ, but that it is your job to overcome it, just as he did. Just as Christ overcame the world, now the calling is for you to overcome the world, not alone, but with Christ who strengthens you, and together as one body. CDM. And this is real, and there's never been a more real message or a more important time in history. The ground is fertile now. The noticing is at an all-time high, and people are now asking, where do we go from here? Let us not go forward into some mess, some Catholic resurgence, some advancement of Eastern child marriage religion like Islam. Let us not go forward into some race-based, gender revenge, red pill, pussyfoot nonsense. Real righteous men are meek. They have the strength and they choose not to use it. We're not pathetic and weak and begging for authority. We have the authority. Jesus Christ placed us here in the world. He knew us before the foundation of the earth. God made us for a reason. He didn't make you to simply consume and die. He made you to be a spirit of victory in this place, to be a conduit of his kingdom. And I really, truly believe there is no greater cause, not just for humanity, but for all time's sake. If it is really true that Jesus returned in 70 AD and ruled 1,000 years, now is our chance to show that we have the integrity that he put into us, that the seed inside of us not just is enough to move mountains, but it's enough to grow into a monstrous tree that fills the whole earth, the whole garden. Each one of us have that mustard seed of potential. And we could go forward and make changes every time. Whenever there's a judge who let off a criminal, we can be there to hold them to account. Whenever there's a governor or a mayor or a head of the school that harmed the children or the subordinates or the ladies in the office, we will be there to hold them to account. Whenever there's a complication about who the property really belongs to, we can be King Solomon about this. We can say, whose car is it really? I guess we'll cut it in half and both of you can take half. And you'll see the people who truly care say, keep the car in one piece. Keep my baby in one piece. Because that's the difference. I'm not going to be told by a bunch of murdering heathens that I'm the bad guy or racist. I don't care. If that's what you think of me, you better be good at getting out of the way, because you're also going in the chipper too. Move over or be destroyed. You're either with me or you're against me, and in 2026 we're about to see the beginning of a new human resistance, the likes of which has not been seen in over 1,000 years. Prep yourself, because it's going to get crazy. CDM is coming. It's happening internationally. We're going to be everywhere, and I expect to see in the near future that you guys will help me get that name into the mouths of all of these voices. Oh, look what Israel's doing in Gaza. Support CDM to resist it. Oh, look what President Trump's doing in office. Support CDM to resist it. And we will build our own empire, and we will destroy these people. Simply put, we will say, which would you rather serve? $5 a gallon milk or $1 a gallon milk? You see what I'm saying? Where would you rather live? A nice, peaceful, crime-free, red-painted neighborhood or a hellscape with ridiculous property tax? At the end of the day, it's so easy. We just get together, make our own currency, and shut them out of the system. They'll be broke and dead. It's easy, man. I know it seems complicated, but just let go of all that fear and cowardice and confusion that comes from trying to think about this with an earthly mind. You were given a spirit of power and authority. Focus on that. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men so that you do not grow weary. Understand that you have a fight ahead of you, a mission for which you were sent to the world, and you are alive today for this mission. It isn't about going and reaching the unreached people groups. We have smartphones now. We have airplanes now. There's no place, no crack, no crevice on earth where the word of God cannot be dropped off immediately. The problem is not getting it there. The problem is who's standing in the way. And so the question is, will you have the courage to do what's necessary to defend those children, those babies, and all these people in the world who have died for nothing? because of these evil people who have not been held to account. It's that simple. People are going to be mad about it. They're not going to like it. They're going to try to destroy my life over it. Who cares, man? They're already trying to destroy our lives. We are already under an oppressive thumb of totalitarian satanic fascism. I'm about ready to say, screw it. Why not some Christo-fascism then? What's so bad about the idea of being National Socialist, especially when your nation is the kingdom of God and you're perfectly fine with sharing resources with the people who need it on the earth? Imagine that. We take the 800 billion going to Israel. We take the 80 billion going to Ukraine. We take the 600 billion going to NASA. We get multiple $1 trillion. And you know what we do? We just feed those fucking kids. We feed those hellholes, even if it's not nice, even if it's not fun, because they will learn who the true kingdom is. Okay? When everybody else wants to buy bombs, we're feeding and putting roofs over kids' heads. Pick the side you want to be on. When they're out there telling you you're racist and hate white people, we'll be the side with all the different colors of the rainbow. We'll be the people all together saying, we just want to live a happy life. We want to live in a nice red town, and we're going to live that way, and there's nothing you can do to stop us, and it is coming to a town near you. Paint the town red, my friends. CDM. And even if it sounds crazy, don't worry. As soon as the message hits the mainstream, this is going to be out of this world. I'm telling you guys now because you're witnessing something that is very rare. This is a very special opportunity. I thought by now someone else would have already done it. That someone else would have discovered the kingdom of God and said, why don't we live like that here? Especially with how bad everything is. They're like, why isn't anything happening? It's a double-edged sword. Bad guys need to be gone and good guys need to be in. Where are the good guys at? That's us, okay? It's time to get active, right? It's time to get busy. CDM, all right? New Year's Eve, we got a whole big year ahead of us. Things are definitely crazy. And of course, I have more and more that I have to share with you guys about this. We're dealing with this. This is a geopolitical evolution of the human race. We are going through an insane transitional time in history. Again, there's been nothing like this as far as anyone can remember. We are being faced with an absolutely rotting parasitic disease that is actively destroying the world. And if we don't act now, the only difference is how much it will cost us in the end. We can sit around today like we always have, and we will eventually be driven to the point of no return, and we will be forced to fight in our own neighborhoods, in our own communities. We will be. Or we can choose to peacefully assemble and to seize the levers of power through righteous force and spiritual authority. We can choose to shut out the billionaires and evil corrupt forces. We can grab the levers of power, engage in actual justice and accountability for everyone equally. We can set right the wrongs of this world, put to an end the corrupt institutions, the money making, the human trafficking, the prostitution, and everything else that fuels the disgusting degeneracy of our world, and know that the masses will comply with whatever they're told. Let it be righteous people then who tell them what to do. We're not asking permission to make the world a better place. We're making it happen in the name of the kingdom of God. In Jesus' name, amen. With all that being said, guys, we are going to wrap it up here. But thank you guys so much for joining for the special New Year's episode of the Main Character Podcast, level 75, made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con Man, and of course, this episode is powered by the Christian Dominion movement, because the truth should not only be declared, it should be imposed, and it will be. 2026 is going to be wild. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you all next week. Actually, on Sunday, because Sunday service is back. So we'll see you then. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Take it easy.
Rearranging your mentality, got some Kool-Aid you can drink. It's a scam, it's a plan, it's a con, and I'm your man. You know I tell it like it is. I hold the secrets in my hands. Reflection and introspection is my profession. I'm recklessly disrespecting what you expect and investing in my discretion, teaching the lessons, impressions to keep you guessing what I do next, man.
Now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison. He will go forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the final battle, an army whose number is as the sand of the sea.
It's amazing the affirmations that come my way when I fake it until I make it. the truth is waiting. Complacent organizations, they say I'm racist. They hate and they making payments on my vacation.